Well, again, let me start with these two slides. Let me briefly remind you that we consider arrays. Arrays are one of the derived types that must be declared by programmer manually, and the general form of the array declaration is presented here. Square brackets in declarative statements in declarative statement either indicates that this is not an ordinary variable but an array. Number of the elements usually must be a constant, and the indexes of these elements starts from 0 up to num minus 1, where num is a number of elements in the array declaration. The first element has index 0, the last element has index num minus 1 or size minus 1, where size is the total size of the array. And the operation square brackets has different meaning. In executive statement, it means getting access to the element of the array with some index, and in declarative statement, it means declaration of the array. We consider these features on two previous lessons, and I don't want to start a new topic related with pointers before the test on this last lesson. We start new topic on the first lesson of the next semester in February. Now we discuss about some algorithms with arrays. Let me switch to Visual Studio. As usual, let me declare the size of the array, and let me remind you that this size must be a constant. If you write this declaration using ordinary variable, Visual Studio shows you a mistake. After that, let's write the loop that initialize the array, that assign some elements. As far as we know in advance the number of elements, we can use loop for. With loop counter I starts from 0, smaller than size, and let's initialize the elements in this array. And let's use random numbers to initialize these elements. In C and C++, there is some function, rand, that returns a random number. Random number in some specific range from 0 up to some special constant that equals to rand max. This constant is called rand max. It approximately equals to 32 thousands. But these numbers will be random, and if you in your problem needs to assign values of some array, or you need to use random numbers, positive integer from some given range, you can use rand. And let's repeat this loop to print this array, because if you just assign these random numbers to the values of the array, you cannot see it. What is these numbers? It's just a sign and you don't see it. Let's output the values of the array to the screen. Let's use cout. Okay. Let's run this simple program. Well, you see the list of random numbers. These numbers are integers from in the range from 0 up to approximately 32,000. Let me use here not handle but space to output these numbers in one line. Let's use here 20 random numbers. Yeah, you will see the list of these numbers. Okay, and the task is very simple. Let's find the largest number in this range, in this array, and moreover, let's find the position of this number. Not only the value, but also the position. Well, of course, this array is not very large, and we just look carefully to this array and see that the largest number is this one, 29,358, right? Yes, I think yes.
Yes, sir.
This is the largest number. Okay, let's write the one more loop to select the largest number. How to do it? Of course, I think you solve this task on practice. What should I write here to find the?
Oh, I typed it in chat.
Largest number.
I typed it in chat.
In char?
In the chat.
Ah, in chat. Okay. I open it. Yes. This is. And these statements we should write in the loop body. Okay, but you write it maybe with some syntactical mistakes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Without braces, without braces, of course.
But
right, yeah. we should introduce one more. Let's declare it with identifier max number. But the range of the numbers are from 0 up to 355, 32,000. And it's better to assign not 0, but -1 as initial value.
Oh, okay.
And after that, we should write the same loop. And if in this loop, we should compare the current value of the maximum, this one, and current number. If the number with index I is larger than the current maximum, then we should replace the value of the current maximum with the value from the array. Max num equals to and if we repeat this loop, this border of loop size times, we select the largest number. Let's output this number to the screen. Yes, and we see that the largest number is 29,358. But what is the index? What is the position of this number? Because the task is not only to find the largest number, but to find only the position, the index of this largest number in this array. What should I do to find the position of this largest number?
Maybe you can in the loop you can see out I.
See out I?
Yes, every time. But then you're gonna
okay, let's try. And you see your mistake in this answer. Maybe some other answers.
See out I is not correct.
See out I is not correct, right? If you output see out I, we will see their position of all their values here. Maybe let's run this program again without this line. How this program will work? If the current element is larger, then this if will be executed. The initial value of max num equals to -1. The value of I equals to 0. The first element is 41. 41 greater than -1, and if will be executed, and we will see 0 on the screen. The next number will be greater than 41, and we will see I again. So we will see on the screen not only one number, but the list of the numbers. Let's do it with space.
Can you make a new declare a new variable called max index or max ind, and then when max num equals max I, at the end you can output, you could also say max index equals.
Right. This solution is right. Well, if you just include the output statement here, it will be wrong, because we will see the indexes of the current largest elements. To find the position of the index of the largest element, we should introduce one more one more number, max index, and let's assign this max index to -1. And after that, if the current element is greater than current maximum, then we should update max int. We should update it with the value of the counter, with the value of I.
Why does max index start from -1? Because I understand why max.
Let's.
Yes, the same question, sir.
Index. Let's run this program, and after that we discuss about your question.
Okay.
Well, we will see the correct answer, that the index of the largest element is 7. Well, your question is about the initial value.
Yes.
In this case, I write here -1 just because the previous value is -1. Actually, I can assign here any number that I want. For example, this one. Why? Why? Because here, this line 34, will assign a new value to the max int, and it doesn't matter what will be the previous value.
Oh, so you don't even need to assign it. You can just
Yes.
declare it.
Right. In this case, I can skip this initialization, and I will get the correct result. But as I told you on one of the lectures, it's better to give the initial values to the variables, and in this case, it's better to give not 0 but -1, just at one reason, that 0, 0, 0 corresponds to the first element of the array, but -1 is out of bounds, and if something will go wrong at this line, you will check after that. If max index equals to -1, if max index is out of bounds, it means that something wrong. Just to, but actually, you can skip this assignment and the program still be correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, more question about this program. Well, now we find the largest element and we know the index of the largest element. Let's modify this program on the following way. Let's swap the first element and the largest one. The largest element is the number max num, max int. But again, this value, it's not enough to do this operation. We should know the index of this element. And let's change the elements with index 0 and the elements with index max int. How to do it? We discussed about swap operation on previous lecture. What should I write to write swap?
I put in the chat one potential thing. So first you declare you
Now,
and then
yes, one
max,
more, but it's not it's not enough. Yes, you should.
max num equals mass 0 and mass 0. Yeah, that's it, right? Finished. Wait. Also mass 0
No.
equals. Oh. Okay.
No. Well, the task is. Let me repeat the task. Maybe you don't understand it correctly. The task is that we know the largest number, this one, and
Yes.
the task is to replace the largest number and the first one. To replace it, we should write 41 on the position of the largest number, and we should write the largest number on the first position. We should swap it. We discussed about this operation on previous lecture
swap.
in detail.
Swap.
How to realize, how to implement swap.
Make
We should
two
introduce.
A
We
and
should
B.
declare one more variable, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But in your answer in chat, you never assign to the array with index max num. Maybe the second line in the chat. Maybe you you made a mistake here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not max num, but mass of max num, right?
Oh, the index of mass num. Yes. Not
the idea you think on the right way, but the answer is wrong. Well, first, what should we do? We should introduce some temporary variable. Let's assign mass with index 0 to this temporary variable. So let's store the value of the first cell of the array in this temporary variable. After that, let's assign the value of max int to the it's a screenshot from previous lecture. Yeah. After that, let's assign the value from the cell with index max int to the cell with index 0. And after that, we should assign the value that we store in temporary variable to the cell with index max int. These three operations correspond to changing the values of two cells, swapping these two cells. Let's print the resulting array after this operation. Print, I can just copy this for loop here. Oops. You will see the result is correct. 41 now is on the position with index 7, and 29 thousandths is in position with index 0. Please remember how to swap two values. We discussed about it on example of just two numbers A and B on previous lesson. Now I show you this example with their cells in the array. Please remember it.
Could you explain the last line? What exactly is happening? So max int, is it necessary?
The last line.
Yeah, the third line. Yeah,
Okay. let me write example here. Of course, I write some other numbers. For example, something like this. What is the largest number? 6.
Yeah, index 3.
With index 3.
Yeah.
The first number is 1. So the largest number is 6 with index 3. It means that max int here equals to 3. Okay?
Yes. Yes.
After that, what should we do? We should this line.
Yes. The
The
temporary.
first line. TMP equals to 1. We remember the value from the first cell into this variable. This line. We take the variable, the value from here and write it to the first cell. So the array looks like this.
Yes, yes.
6, 4, 2, 6, 0. And what should we do next? We should take the value from TMP and assign it into this position.
But doesn't the value of TMP change as soon as you execute the second line?
The second? No,
the second
of course, because TMP is another variable. It doesn't relate with the mass 0. We just assign a new value to TMP. We store. It's a temporary variable, and this assignment operation doesn't change the value of TMP.
Okay.
And after that, we get the final array 6, 4, 2, 1, 0.
Okay. But if you did this in a loop, it would change the value of mass index 0. So, right? You have to do it outside the loop.
Yes, of course. This operation should be done outside of the loop only once. Maybe in some other problem, some other task, you should include this operation inside the loop. But in our example, when you should swap the largest and the first element, this operation should be is placed outside of the loop.
Okay. I understand. Thank you, sir.
Let me write it once again. Okay. Well, now let's consider another task. I write here a comment, large comment, that exclude this part of the code. Okay. Well, in our example, we consider the arrays of the type int or the arrays of the type double or float to store real numbers. But let's consider, as example, the arrays of the type char, character. So now this array consists of characters, and in the C language, there is no special data type for string. String is considered as an array of characters. So this array can be considered as a string. For example, I can assign here a characters, something like this. Hello. Let's try to output this array to the screen. Again,
If you don't make 20, then does it just fill the rest with the zeros, or?
right. Let's see it. Let's see it. You're right. I starts from 0. I smaller than size. And I plus plus. See out. Mass I. Or no, it's not mass because it's string there. And cout handle. Let's see what. Let's look what we see on the screen. We see hello, or the last index. It's not 0. It should be O, of course. Hello. Yes, you're right. All of the last elements are zeros, but it's not integer zeros. It's characters with the code 0, but character with the code 0 is considered as an empty symbol. So we don't see it on the screen.
Okay.
Moreover, arrays of characters are special type of arrays, and these arrays can be output using cout, like this. You see? But pay attention that this line will be true, will be correct only for arrays of characters.
Oh, you don't have to for loop. You don't need to make for loop.
Yes. You don't write to you don't need to write a for loop to output the arrays of characters because it's a string. It's considered as a one string. Well, we discuss about strings later, maybe in details, when we will consider pointers. We start to consider pointers at the first lesson in the next semester, and then we discuss about strings in details. Also, I want to show you one more type of initialization. Again, because the array of characters is a special type of array. And sliced like this. Without this long list of initialization, you don't need to write character by character, hello, but you can write a string, hello, and that's all. Again, it's correct because array of characters is a special type of arrays. It's considered as a string.
I put a question in the chat. Does this work?
Chat. Okay, let's look.
Does that work? Would it output H?
Yes, it will work. It will work to output H. Let's do it. Let's input this line as a last line, and we will see H.
Okay, I understand.
So this string is considered as an array of characters with the same features that this is H. If you put here 1, we see E, and so on.
Okay.
It's not all of the features of the arrays, but maybe some important features, because all of the features I can explain you only when we consider pointers. Now, I want to discuss about some algorithm. Do you know what is the meaning of the word palindrome? It's a
No.
maybe in English I'm wrong in translation from Russian to English, because in Russian we called it palindrome, and I check it in Google Translator. Google Translator also tells me that it translates like palindrome. The word that can be read from right to left and from left to right, and we get the same result. Like level. Level, you can read it from right to left, you can read it from left to right. Okay?
Okay.
Well, and and hello, it's not a palindrome, because if you read it from right to left and if you read it from left to right, you will get different words. But level is okay. Well, and let's check. Let's write a program. Let's write a program that checks, is it a palindrome or not? So can this word be read from left to right and right to left? And the program should answer yes or no. Two possible outcomes. How to check it? How to check?
Are you asking us, or are you
I'm asking. Yes.
Okay, so
Maybe you have some ideas about the program.
So the way to check, I guess you need first of all, you can declare a bool for yes or no.
Right. Let's declare the variable. Let's use identifier result, and let's assign this result. Oh, okay, I can assign it as true, or I can assign it as a false as initial value. And some message in chat. No messages. Okay. Well, what should I do next?
You could say maybe a if statement.
Okay, but what should I check in the if statement? Well, think.
The question was?
Sorry, I don't hear.
What is the question was?
The question is to check, can this word can be read from right to left and from left to right?
Maybe we can reverse the sequence of character.
Yes, it's sequence of characters.
Yes.
But we already store this sequence of characters in the array string str.
Okay, so no.
But what should we do next?
I have an option in the chat. Could you check the? I don't know. I'm just guessing, but.
Right, of course. No. If you write something with indexes,
Ah,
Yes.
reverse index or like this.
indexes.
This an index, yes, right.
Because I is an index, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's not a value. Could you write maybe
This
some other
one-
guess in
This
chat?
was just in one index. How we can
If the
do
characters
this?
are symmetric, but okay, yes, you tell the correct words. We should check the characters are symmetric.
Yeah, but how?
But how to check it? My question is how to check. You're right. You're right. We should check the symmetricity of the.
Oh, okay. Maybe if you check if
Please,
the first index,
maybe.
index 0,
Please,
is
yeah. Think in terms of array. The first index, the last index, something like this. Yes, it's my.
so you could check if index, you need inside the inside the for loop, you can put if index 0 is equal to index size minus size, and then index, and then size minus 1, and then size if index 1 is equal to index size minus 2, and so on.
Right, something like this. Yes, but you are right because okay, we already discussed about this problem on previous lesson when we consider the problem of inverting the arrays when we replace the first element and last element. Well, you are on the right way. We should take the first element and we should compare it with the last element. And if these elements are equal, then we should compare second and last minus 1. Suppose that I write something like this, hello. We take the first element and the last element. These elements are different. And at this point, we can say that false. It's not a palindrome. So when the first element and last element are different, we can say no, false. But if these elements are the same, we should compare the second pair of elements, second and last minus 1, and so on. But this is just an explanation. But what should we write inside loop? Let's think about this task in terms of indexes. What is the index of the first element? Zero. But inside loop, we never write concrete indexes. We should use loop counter, because the first value of the loop counter will be 0. So this index is I. So I is index of current element. Current character.
I think it's called reflection mirror.
Yeah, character, right.
Maybe we can call this reflection mirror.
But what is the index of the last element? So I is index of the current element. What should be the index of the corresponding element?
It's index str of size -1.
Size -1 is the last.
Yes,
But
that's what
we should compare it not with the last, but size -1
Oh, minus I.
minus I.
Yes, 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 I forgot.
Size -1 minus I.
Yes. Yeah, you mentioned this before, I just forgot.
Okay, right. And there is some features. Let's use how many characters are here? 5, right? Let's assign size
Yes.
to 5. But there is some feature that we discuss on the next lesson to assign an array of characters. You should use one more position, size +1. But size is a number of characters here, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 indexes. And we should compare the index, the character with index I and the character with index size -1 minus I. And if these characters are the same, we should compare the next pair of indexes, the next pair of characters. But if these characters are different, we can say false. Exactly at this point.
But don't you need to create a new variable to? Don't you need to declare a new variable to store size -1 minus I? So
no,
you can.
No, we just computed.
Okay.
Let's write the current symbol string with index I. We should compare it with this one, string with index size -1 minus I. And if these indexes are the same, we cannot say nothing. We should compare the next indexes. But if these indexes are different, because example is very simple. Let me write such word, for example, level. I don't know what is this word, but with mistake. L equals to L, but E doesn't equal to O. So when we compare L and L, we cannot say nothing. We should compare the next pair of indexes. E and O. These indexes are different. And at this point, we can say no. So if these indexes are different, in this case, we can say
equals false.
yes.
Yes.
And should we check the next symbols if these two symbols are different?
You already did, because it's going to go through the loop.
No. Okay, I tell you no. If two symbols are different, the rest of the symbol we can skip.
Oh, so you can break. Yeah, break. Yeah.
I can break the loop here.
Yes, yes.
Because if these two symbols are different, I can break. But if these symbols are the same, we should take the next pair of symbols and compare it. And what happens here? The initial value is true. But if this if will be executed, the value becomes false. And after the loop, I should check the state of the variable res. So in some cases, we call such variables as a flag. Flag is up, flag is down. So res is true, res is false. Here I should only output the value of the variable res, but let's do it in loop. If result equals to true, then let's output yes.
Yeah, else if.
Else?
Oh, else. Okay, no, else if, yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, we check this array of symbols. So we consider this string as array of symbols. We check it symbol by symbol, character by character. And if at least one pair of characters are not the same, we can say false. But again, as in my previous example on previous lecture, should I do it up to the size? No, because L I compare with L. Let's right level. L I compare with L, E with E, V with V, and after that I should stop.
No, stop, yes.
I don't need to compare again E with E and L with L because I have already compared.
If you don't break, will it be an infinite loop?
It's called middle index.
What should I write here? Exactly like in my previous example on previous lecture.
Oh,
I should do up to size over 2.
Okay.
Up to the middle of the array.
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's check. Let's check this program. Level. Yes. And if I put here O, no. And hello, also no. But if I write something like this, of course it's not a correct word, but it can be read from right to left and from left to right. You see? Yes. Okay, this example, I want to show you again how to use indexes. If you need to compare first and last, second and last minus one, you should use I to get access to the first and I to get access to the last. But to the last, you should use this construction size minus 1 minus psi. And so on.
Okay.
Do you have any questions about this example? Because this is very, very simple example of the algorithm with arrays. Later, we will consider more complex examples, more complex algorithms.
Okay. No questions, sir.
Well, no questions. I think now we can stop. We start our consideration the next semester from the data type pointer. We discuss about the addresses, we discuss about the connections between pointers and arrays, pointers and strings, but it will be in February. Now let me stop sharing and also let me stop recording.